Bring in the better minds now. NewsNation legal contributor Jesse Weber and criminal trial attorney Sara Azari. Great analysts, both. Good to have you both. Jesse is doing a podcast on this, and it's killing it. So you can go on YouTube and watch that and get his in-depth analysis. Now, you can nod your head all you want. He's First Amendment right. He can do whatever he wants. Making eye contact with the jury, no go. But Sara Azari, how big a deal is it if he gets kicked out of the courtroom?
It's a big deal, Chris. You know, I think the judge took a non-event and turned it into a constitutional crisis. He has a right to be there. He has a right to engage in his defense. He has a right to participate and confront witnesses. And you have to remember, this happened in the context of a legitimately lying witness. And it was more of a moment of, this is BS, she's lying, than anything suggestive to the jury. He was not jury influencing. And one thing I want to say, look, if we're now ejecting defendants for micro expressions, then I think we've crossed the line from due process into pageantry. I mean, a trial is not some sort of a stage play where the defendant has to be on his highest mark. There was nothing that this jury doesn't already know. The defense is money grab, fabrication of testimony, lying witnesses, and he was just agreeing. It was not persuasion, it was presence.
So, Jesse, what's the flip on that? And what was the impact of why they say this witness was eviscerated?
Because he's different from any other defendant. What has the jury heard for the last 4 weeks? That he's been intimidating people, assistants, witnesses, victims. The worst thing that would happen is that he influences the jury, but they feel intimidated. Look, the thing is, you know what's worse than him getting kicked out of the courtroom? If the judge says, and the judge warned that, I'm going to give them an instruction. Jury, have you seen Combs nodding at you, inappropriately communicating with you? That's not evidence. Ignore it. They don't want the jury to hear that. Look, this is the problem. They won today. I've been thinking that the prosecution's been doing great the last 4 weeks. Defense won today. I think the prosecution had a hard time trying to rehabilitate this witness. In the long run...
Was she lying? What was she lying about?
Look, the problem was... she said she was dangled off a 17-story balcony. The problem is the metadata from when she showed her injuries indicated it happened before. The hotel receipts indicated that Combs wasn't where he said he was. The thing is, she doesn't matter in the overall context of the case. I think in the last 4 weeks, if they're trying to prove racketeering and there's underlying crimes, forced labor, arson, kidnapping, they've done it with a number of other witnesses, including Cassie, Kid Cudi. But this just goes to some of the weaknesses in the case. And right now, Jane, you heard Laura Ingle talk about it. At the end of her testimony, she really didn't get to sex trafficking. She did help prove the prostitution charge. So any weakness in the prosecution's case is not good. The defense should have taken a win. The worst thing is Diddy nodding, because that actually hurts his defense. I think the jury will be turned off by that.
Sara, tell me why I'm wrong about something. Because I keep having people give me weird looks, and I know that you have no problem telling me when I'm wrong. I get why they use RICO, okay? And I get why it's been extended, and they use it in a lot more than mob cases now. But. I think Jesse is right that they've checked a lot of boxes about the predicate acts, as they call it under the statute. But do you believe the jury has been exposed to a case yet where they can say, yeah, Diddy was running a criminal enterprise, as opposed to he just does lots of shady, stupid things, but it's not a criminal enterprise like the mob or what they're traditionally used to seeing?
Well, I want to say, first of all, they're abusing the RICO statute. They're not using it, they're abusing it. But also, this is one of the most disjointed prosecutions in recent times, and I've been saying this in the last week. They have all these predicate acts. They have all these ugly facts. They have the weird, freak officer hotel stays. But it's disjointed. They don't have an organized enterprise. There is no connection there. And, I kind of disagree with Jesse, because with this witness, with Bonna, who was Cassie's drug dealer, was using drugs with Cassie, was her friend, and colluded with her, actually, with respect to this balcony incident. I thought she was onto something, because I'm like, okay, well, this is somebody he did not have a relationship with and he was violent towards. And then she got completely eviscerated. She couldn't recall anything. And it's like, it doesn't matter whether your brain is fried on drugs and you don't recall, or you're just lying and you don't recall. You cannot be believed by the jury. And so, to me, it was a sign, Chris, that the government doesn't really have the meat of its case, that they would put someone like that on. Because if I realize that this person's not a good witness, and I just met with them a couple days ago, I would pull them out of my case to preserve their integrity in my case. So the fact that they went ahead and put this girl on is making me think like they don't really have a solid case here.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.